So now we will see how the input can be taken from the user. To understand this, let us see one example. Let us say I am using x equals to say 25 and I am just using a simple print statement, print x. So if I execute this, so I am getting output as 25, which is the exact value of x variable. Now, if I want to take x as an input from the user, all I need to do is just replace that value with input and then round bracket start, round brackets end. Once I execute this code, what I am going to get is a blinking cursor, and you can see over here there is a star. So this is an indication that your program is still running and it is asking for the input. Now, if I try to give input any value, let us say I am writing Raj. So once I press the enter key, what you will find, the Raj, which is an input value, that will be stored into a variable which is called as x, and this print statement is going to print this particular statement as Raj. Now, since we are able to take input from the user, let us try to manipulate the data. So for this purpose, let us copy this and paste it over here, and I'm going to multiply this with 2. So let us see what is going to happen if I execute this particular code. Let us execute this. So again, now this time I'm going to use once again input as Raj. So now as an output, you will find Raj is getting printed 2 times. This is the first time and this is the second time. Now this is the indication that whatever input I am giving from user's perspective, it is getting doubled because I am going to use a star 2 over here. So whatever input I am giving, this is treated as a string or a text or a character of or array of characters. So this array or this list is getting repeated 2 times. So in place of this 2, if I go for 5 and if I execute this, I'm going to get Raj as an input. So I'm going to get Raj. This will be printed 5 times. But this is not what I want. I want to operate some values. So let us try to give these values as an input. So I'm going to execute this once again, and this time I'm going to use 25. So what is expected is x value is 25. 25 into 5, I should get output as 125. But once I press the enter key, 25 is repeated 5 times. So this means that whatever input I am giving from user end, it is treated as only the text or a string of characters. So I am basically interested in numbers. So to convert this into a numbers, I have to use one more function which is called as integer. So all I need to do is I should write int in bracket this complete input. Now just to demonstrate this, I'm just making this as 2. So now if I execute this particular program, so it is once again asking what is the value of user. So if I write 5 and if I execute this, so now I am getting this as 10 over here. Now what is happening in this code is input is a function which is taking input from the user. So user is entering 5. Now this 5 is treated as a text, but this text is now getting converted into an integer which is a whole number, and then x will be having a number, not a text. So that whenever you are trying to print x multiplied by 2, x will be treated now as a number, and arithmetic operation, which is a multiplication in this case, this is going to happen and you are going to get 10 as an output. Now let us execute this code one more time with a different value. Now if I execute this and if I write Raj this time, so Raj is a string, it is not a number. Now in this case, this input statement will be taking input as a string, and then this integer is going to convert this input in form of an integer. So once I press the enter key, see, it is going to give me error because I am trying to convert Raj, which is a string, into an integer. So this is not possible. That's why it is going to give me an error. Now let us execute this code one more time, and this time I am going to enter a value of pi, that is 3.141592. So now this is a fractional number, it is having a fractional part. So if I try to execute this code, if I press the enter key, then also it is going to give me an error that this cannot be converted into a integer number, because integer number is a number where the fractional part is not at all there. So when you try to write integer over here, you are going to get output only when you are entering a whole number without any decimal part. Now to deal with a real number which is having a decimal part, all you have to do is you just have to convert, in place of integer, you have to convert this into a float. Now what float will do, it will try to convert a number with a fractional part. So let us execute this code. Now if I execute this code, it is telling me to enter some value, and I am writing a value of pi one more time, 3.141592. Once I press this enter key, see my value is getting now doubled because I am writing x into 2 over here. So basically you are entering this value, and this value is taken care as an input by this input function, but this will treat it as a string. But when you are using this float function, so whatever user has given as an input, so this value will be converted into a floating point number, which is a number with a decimal part, and the x value will now become 3.141592. And when this statement is executed, x multiplied by 2, so you are going to get 6.2831 and 84. Now let us execute this code with different inputs. So this time I am using the value of, let us say, only 9. So there is no decimal part over here. So if I execute this code, see what is happening. So 9 is taken as an input. So this doesn't have any fractional part. It will be converted into a floating point number. So it will be converted into 9.0, because since there is no decimal part, dot 0 will be added. And when you multiply 9.0 into 2, you are going to get 18.0 as a output. Now let us execute this code one more time, and this time I am writing input as text. So once I try to convert text into a floating point number, then also I am going to get an error, because this is a string and string cannot be converted into a floating point number. Only a value of number is getting converted. For example, this time if I am using the gravity 9.81, so if you use this, you are going to get the double the gravity, that is 18.36 over here. Now let us try to give a proper input message to the user. Now to understand this, let me copy and paste this particular value once again over here, and if I execute this code, see what is going to happen. So it is giving me a blank screen. Okay, there is no proper message, only with the blinking cursor. So user is not able to understand what has to be done. User may enter like Raj, or he may enter a number, or he may enter a decimal number. Okay, so proper message has to be given that what exactly you have to enter. Therefore it is essential to give a proper message. So just to complete this code, I am going to give 9.81 or 18. I am going to get a error message because this is a fractional number. Okay, so let us convert this into a float, and if I execute this once again with 9.81, I am going to get the correct output. Now back to how to give the message over here. So message can be given with a simple print statement, and say I can say print, okay, and enter a number. Okay, so if I execute this code, see what is going to happen. So now I am getting a proper message that you have to enter a number, not the text. So now what I can do is I can write any value, let us say 6. So I am going to get output as 12. Okay, now let us modify this code slightly, and I just want to have x into x, and x into x is basically a square of the given number. So I am going to write down over here SQU square of a number is, and then comma. So now if I execute this code, see what is going to happen. It says enter a number. Let us say I am entering a number 5, and output now I am getting square of a number is 25. So in this way you can customize a message so that appropriate message should be given to a user in order to have the successful execution of your code. Now here you might have noticed in this code that you have to write one print statement over here to give the appropriate message. Now this can be done by a simple method. Now in this method, this message can be embedded in the input statement itself. So I am going to copy this, and in the input statement I am going to write the same message, and I am going to delete this. So now the length of this code has been reduced. Here you can see the length of the code is 3 lines, and whereas in this code length of the code is just 2 lines. When you execute this code, see what is going to happen. It is going to give me a message that enter a number. So let us say number is now 5, and then if I execute this, I'm going to get square of a number is now 25. Okay, so both codes, this code as well as this code, they solve the same purpose. Only thing is the length of this code is 1 line extra as compared to this one, because the error message is written separately in form of a print statement, but in this case the message is given in the input statement itself. Right now, let us try to write one more code where I am going to find out the perimeter of a triangle. So triangle has got 3 sides. Let us say A, then B, and then C. So now I want to take the input, so I should say float. I will say input, and here I am going to write a message, enter side 1 of a triangle. Okay, now I am going to copy this one more time over here. Okay, and over here I'll just make some changes. So this is side 2 and this is side 3. So these 3 statements are giving message to the user that you have to enter the side 1, which will be stored into a memory location of A. Then one more message, you have to enter the side 2, it will be stored into the memory location of B. And one more message, you have to enter side 3, it will be stored into the memory location of C. So let us call it as perimeter. So perimeter is P equals to A plus B plus C. It's a simple mathematical expression, that is summation of all 3 sides, and then I am just printing that perimeter equals to, and here I am writing P over here. So let us execute this code. So see, I am getting enter side 1. Let us say side 1 is 2, side 2 is say 3, and side 4 is side 3 is let us say 4. So I am going to get output as 9. Now here you can see I have written 3 lines, one for giving the input for A along with a proper message, one is for B along with the proper message, one is for C along with the proper message. Now the same code can be written in different forms. So I'm just copying this code and I'm pasting it over here. Now in place of writing these 3 lines, I can complete this task in just 2 lines. Okay, how? I can simply say A comma B comma C equals to float and input. Okay, so here this statement needs to be copied 3 times because I am taking the 3 values, and since I am taking 3 values, I need to give a proper message. So I am using print once again over here, enter 3 sides of triangle. Okay, so now what is happening over here is this A is coupled with this particular statement, this B is coupled with this particular statement, and this C is coupled with this particular statement. Since I am using a simple print message that you have to enter the 3 sides of the triangle, I am going to get output something like this. So when I execute this code, I am getting a message that yes, you have to enter 3 sides of the triangle. So I am entering 2, then I am entering 3, and then I am entering 4, and as an output I am going to get the perimeter as 9.0. So now the code which is demonstrated over here and the code which is demonstrated over here, they are solving the same purpose. The only thing is here the length of the code is 5 lines, and here the length of the code is just simply 4 lines. Okay, now there is one more way of giving input, especially when we are dealing with multiple values. So in place of writing A, B and C, and here you can see I am writing 3 times input float input statements. Now in this case, since it is 3 values, it is very easy for me to write this float input 3 times. What if there are multiple values, maybe 10 values or maybe 100 values? So in that case, I have to repeat this that many number of times. So in place of doing this, we can have a simple map function can be used. So I say map, and under the map I should write float comma input bracket complete, and then I'll say split. Okay, now what this particular statement will do, it will split the input into 3 parts, and the first part will be assigned to A, second part will be assigned to B, and third part will be assigned to C. So let us execute this. So it is saying that enter 3 sides of the triangle. So this time I am using 2 space 3 space 4. So now see the difference. I am giving the input in just single window, and 2 consecutive values, they are now separated by space. The moment I press the enter, what will happen? The input is 2 space 3 space 4. This is splitted into 3 parts. So the first part is 2, it will be stored into the memory location of A. Second part is 3, it will be stored into the memory location of B. And third part is 4, it will be stored into the memory location of C. So now here what is happening is input is given in just one line, and there are 3 values. So 3 values can be splitted into 3 parts, and it can be stored into respective variables. What if I try to execute this code and I try to give the values one by one? So here if I try to give only 3 and then press the enter key, so see what is happening. I am going to get an error. What error says? Not enough values to unpack. Expected values are 3, and what values we have received? We have received only one value, because once I press the enter key, the input is over. So whenever you are using this particular function, that is split function, please make sure that you are entering appropriate number of inputs. Just in case, in this case you are having 3 inputs, so you must enter the values 3 different values, then and then only this is going to work. So once again, if I execute this with 5, 4, 5 and 6, so see this particular code is working perfectly fine. But if I use say 4 and 5, just 2 values, it is going to give me error, because expected values are 3 and you are going to get only 2 values. If I execute this with more number of values, let us say 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this time I am giving 4 values. So it is not possible to split the 4 values into 3 different parts. So then also you are going to get the error, and what it says, too many values. Okay, so expected values are only 3 and we are giving only 4 values. So this is not going to happen. So you need to work on this. So you have to give 3 values only, 2, say 3 and 4, and then you will find the code is working.